Hello, it's Easter weekend. It's also Passover. It's also Ramadan. I hope everyone is feeling blessed and comfortable and peaceful with their families this weekend. My house is pretty quiet right now, so I thought it would be a good time to touch base with you. Thank you to everyone who remembered to upload their discussion board homework on last night, Thursday night, and I've been reading some of them and responding today. And I also looked at the video from James Friedman, that's attached to her blog article about how to self-publish, and it really made me think of the industry and also made me think about my own publishing story. So today, this is something weird on the screen. I'm sorry. I wasn't flirting, there was a hair on the screen. So today, this is publishing horror stories. Dun, dun, dun. So when I first published a book, it was not widely distributed. I don't even count this on my CV really, but maybe I should, I don't know. I was in the 2nd grade, and it was Little Poems for Little People, and it was, all the poems were written by me. I was 7 years old, and my teacher helped me make it into a book. I do believe 2nd graders still do this particular assignment, like usually they choose to write stories. Well, I chose to write poems. My dad's a poet, so that might have been where the influence came from. So that actually got a literary prize of, local 2nd graders. I was living in Seattle at the time, so it was Seattle Pacific University. I got to go to the Young Writers Conference, and they put my book on the shelf. So this widely distributed collection was owned by my grandparents with 1 copy, my parents with a copy, and the library, Seattle Pacific Library, had a copy. About 10 years ago, I called and checked to see if that copy was still there. It was given to a Native American tribe in, was it Colorado, I think? Somewhere in the Midwest. It was given to an Indian school, and now some other 2nd grader may be enjoying my poems. So I hope so. Don't know where the grandparents' copy went. My mom still has her. Now, that was my first publishing experience. It was really fun. My dad had a TV show. He put me on a show, and I read poetry out loud, and so it goes. I have not changed one bit. Maybe my writing's gotten a little more sophisticated since then. Okay, so fast forward to being a teenager at Shippensburg University. Actually throughout high school, and then like my first year or 2 at SHIP, I was writing poems about the normal teen angsty things: being lonely, wanting a boyfriend, getting a boyfriend, dumping a boyfriend, spiritual things, political things about race and culture, and feminism, big time feminist. And so all of that was very much me. Is like my heart on the page. And when I learned I was a communications major, then I learned graphic design, and so I designed the book myself. I paid a friend of mine to use her artwork, and her artwork was on the cover. Her name's Christine D. Johnson. Her artwork has gotten way more sophisticated. It always was, but she's brilliant. So ChristineDJohnson.com. She's amazing. Okay, so that book was done. I got the attention of professors then, and they told me about Shippensburg University Press. So I submitted that book to Shippensburg University Press, as well as to about 20 other publishers that I found in the phone book. Yes, we had those. And I actually got some good responses. It's not typical to get responses. It's typical to just not hear nothing if they don't want it, but I got good responses. As far as this doesn't fit in what we do, or this isn't what we're looking for right now, or we're closed for submissions, but keep it up, keep writing. And so I did take that advice. So, I haven't gotten to the horror story yet, guys. Okay, so Shippensburg University Press in Pennsylvania did accept my work. The president of the press, her name is escaping me. She was a great professor of English. And then there was a committee of professors and staff members. I remember the women's, what do they call that? There was a women's center. So the feminists accepted it, and the multicultural student affairs. So it was pretty cool. So I got good accolades, and I was accepted by, it was peer reviewed, right? And so this is where I wanted to go. So I decided to be, as Jane Freeman puts in her blog, you have that indie area of publishing, then you have that literary area. And yes, literary, you can call them snobby and snooty and whatever, but I'm bougie, so that's what I wanted to do. So I was accepted for publication, and that went well. That was my first book, which is out of print. It's a chapbook, which means it's a short collection of poetry, 28 pages or less. And it was entitled Windows to the Soul. I really only get copies of those when older people in my family die, and then somebody says, "Do you want your book back?" They are really not in print anymore. But that was the first experience. It was a good experience. It was a new experience. I didn't do a ton of marketing, but I did do some poetry readings on campus and at around town. My parents threw me a big old party at the John Harris Mansion in Harrisburg, and we promoted my work. So that was really fun, and I got to be in the newspaper. I had a great time. I was 19. So then, okay, so I'm getting a little bit older, more sophisticated. At this point, I had, let's see, when the next book came out, it's called Rising Waters. I think I had just started my job at Central Penn College. I had a master's degree, and actually my book was part of my master's degree. It was a communication studies degree, so I had to do a full corporate communications marketing plan for my book. That book also was accepted by Shippensburg University Press. I do remember the president of the college saying, "God, publish the book and get on with your life." He was like, "Could you please graduate?" So I got that done. That was about 2003. I believe it was March, actually. Don't know why I remember that. Women's history. So Rising Waters was the name of that book. The design was done by students. I've always incorporated student work in in the things I put out into the world. So there was a class run by, and remember this name, Dick Gibbs, who was the PR teacher. Now look, this is going somewhere. You gotta pay attention. Okay, so Dick Gibbs got his class, the book and marketing class, something like that, to make several different versions of my book. And then I got to choose the covers. So they got to play publisher. Now, Dick Gibbs, this professor, he was known for a lot of things. on campus. He ran the textbook publishing workshop in the summer for professors. He also had been a professor at CHIP for like 15, 16 years, very well known. He became the new president of the Shippensburg University Press when that other English professor stepped down after several years. So publishing was his thing and public relations was his thing. I considered him a mentor because, like, if I was late for class from like freshman year, and I have ADHD, I'm late for class. I'm sorry. I'm late for just about everything. But he would call me in my room. We had landlines in every dorm room. And he knew that my dorm was across the street and would be like, Maria, what are you doing? Where should you be right now? And I'd be like, dude, aren't you supposed to be teaching right now? But he would say, I'm waiting for you. And I'm like, but that's like 25 people that have to, like, he's like, you better get here or nothing gets done. So he really pressed me and made sure that I did what I needed to do. Because that first year I was a little depressed. Some of us know about that, right? I was a little depressed, so getting out of bed was difficult. But he made sure I did. So I really loved this professor. I loved him. And now he's the president of the press. And he chose my next book to be, for him to publish and promote. I'm so excited. Rising Waters. But I still did not know very much about publishing yet. I really didn't. The difference between, we didn't call it indie. We didn't have India RE yet. We didn't call it that. We called it self-publishing. We didn't call it hybrid. We called it vanity presses. We still had, you have poetry.com, and you guys know you shouldn't post on poetry.com, that it's a scam. Well, we had a mail order thing, National Library of Poetry. I know I have some middle-aged students in my class that probably know what I'm talking about, because they probably had them for fiction too. But anyway, I didn't know a lot about the industry yet and how things worked. So I decided there's these big bookstores, Borders and Barnes & Noble. And I wanted to see my book on the shelf. So I went into Barnes & Noble and I said, look, I published this book. It's called Rising Waters. I'm so awesome. And you need to have it on your shelf. And they looked at it and they said, it doesn't have an ISBN number on it. So we can't do anything with that. So for those who have not noticed, pick up any book near you. Any book. And that's my son stomping and humming in the background. Pick up any book around you. I actually have a huge bookshelf over here, so I'm going to stretch and find. What did I find? Ooh. Feminism and Anthropology. I haven't even read this. I know I sound very smart and intellectual, and I am, but this was actually a gift of the late, great Marion Dornell, who passed on and left me her books. I love her. Oh gosh. And so when you look at the back of your book, and same with if you pull it up, any book on Amazon, you're going to see this. It's an ISBN number. Don't ask me what it stands for, I forget. But basically this is the identifier of this particular book, that it has been copywritten. In order for a bookstore to have it on the shelf, it has to have an ISBN number. My book was published, Rising Waters, it was published with no ISBN number. So at that point, I have to go tell my, I'm being told by Barnes & Noble that they can't put it on the shelf. So all the book is good for is for me to do like events and hand sell them to people. And that's not what I wanted. I wanted to be big time. I wanted to be Maya Angelou. And so, I then emailed Professor Gibbs and said, hey, what's going on? And I know it's 14 minutes, but we're getting to the horror story part. and it's a doozy. So, his response to my email was, "Oh my God, Maria, I have more important things to worry about other than you." Wow. Can you imagine? So, of course I was really upset, and I was like, dude, we have a contract. I had to get businessy. We have a contract. You are a publisher. This is like Publishing 101 basics. You have to have an ISBN number. I can't do anything with this book. And so, that was, he wrote back an apology with lots of excuses. His wife had just left him. His wife of 39 years. That was weird because, 39 years. Oh, and I knew the couple, like, they were a great loving couple. I had been to the house before. Why? Why did that happen? And he was basically spazzing out, and we knew that he had a tendency towards anxiety and stuff like that. We knew he had several computers in his office. His office was always a mess. He always was like panicking about something. So it's like, okay, disorganized, And so, we as students, so that was okay. I'm like, okay, well, can you please just give me some time? Like, when can I have this number and how can we put it on the book? So he came up with a little plan for that. He said a couple weeks he'll get that fixed up. At this point, I worked for a college. I worked for Central Penn College, near Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. Harrisburg's the capital. And Shippensburg University it wasn't even an hour away, maybe 45 minutes away. I still had friends who were adjuncts at Central Penn that were going to school at Shippensburg, getting their masters or PhDs. One of those friends, about a week after this exchange, texts me. She said, "Why is Gibbs in the computer lab in disguise?" And now that I say that, I'm like, I had text back then. Oh, and sorry, distraction. Okay, why is he in the computer lab? What do you mean disguise? And she said that he has on a hat and a fake beard and like street clothes, because we were used to seeing him in a suit. I was like, I have no idea what you're talking about. What is he doing? Well, she was in the computer lab, which Gibbs had pressed the college to fund. It was $1 million that they spent on state-of-the-art Macs and laser printers. It's 2004, guys. Come on. So, it was a really big deal. And she said he's going to each and every computer and deleting everything. Huh. That's odd. So, fast forward just a couple days, and I had given her the gossip. I don't know. He's been freaking out lately. His wife left him. I don't have an ISBN number. It's all about me. I don't know. So she's like, something's strange. Well, I turn on the news probably about a day or two later and find out Professor Dick Gibbs of Shippensburg University has been arrested. One of his family members turned him in for child pornography. This man was wanted in 4 states. I don't have time to deal with you. My wife left me. Well, yeah, she left you because of the things you were doing and how it impacted her children. So, he was not only a pornographer, but he had a pornography business. So all of his publishing expertise went to that, as well as he was a child molester and he was just a freaking liar.